Well, good morning and welcome to the aforementioned Grow Omaha show. Jeff Beals here at your service. We are brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. This is the only show in the metro area that talks about business expansion, real estate, construction, economic development, fun things if you care about your city becoming more vibrant, prosperous, and all around fun. So let's bring on my co-host, a man who is absolutely legendary in his real estate deal-making history and prowess, Trenton Magid.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Jeff.
Happy morning to you, too. We've got a busy show, as we always do in a little bit. We're going to bring on one of your favorite guests, Stacy Winters from Omaha Food Lovers. You know what that means. We're going to be talking a lot about restaurants, new restaurants, existing restaurants, what's changing in the restaurant world. But first, it's time for the development news of the week, which is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com. They know mortgages there. In fact, it's getting to be late February now, so that means the crazy spring home buying season is just about ready to kick off. If you are thinking about dipping your toe into the home buying pool, one of the first things you want to do is stop by Eagle Mortgage, get that pre-approval letter. As you talk with one of the mortgage brokers there, they can help you decide what are the best options for you. They can shop the market. As a mortgage broker, they have access to more than just one bank. Doesn't matter whether you're conventional, FHA, VA, they'll take good care of you, and you can find them online at eaglemortgagecompany.com.
You see that, Jeff?
Or in person at 114th and Davenport.
Pardon me? Did you see that the feds might have about 3 more rate hikes by the end of the year?
And then I was glad to see the last one was only 1/4 of a point as opposed to the 3/4 point increases they had been doing. And I was talking with a couple people at NP Dodge Residential. I actually had the honor of emceeing their awards program this
6
week.
years running, isn't it?
Yeah, I love doing that. Because we have so many good agents over there. Anyway, a lot of them were talking about just how busy it is. and there was a slowdown last fall, but it's really looking busy right now, very active. And the mortgage rates are actually better than they were at the end of last year or in the third quarter of last year. So things are actually looking pretty good, even though we might still see some rate increases.
It's time to go to Eagle Mortgage.
Absolutely. So let's go get into the news of the week. First of all, we're going to talk about nonstop flights. We had some good news. Epley is getting a couple more of those. And the first one that was announced early in the week is a nonstop to Austin, Texas.
Which is awesome because it's just the beginning of riot season.
Thank you. And that will be on Allegiant Airlines. It's going to be just seasonal, and it'll begin on June 15th. When they say seasonal, it just kind of depends on the airline. But basically, I think we can interpret that as in summer, fall, probably not winter. Yep. I wouldn't be surprised to see that eventually become a permanent route for a nonstop. Austin is growing like crazy. It's becoming more and more of a major tech center that rivals Silicon Valley. So I think we could see that. And that's on Allegiant. And Allegiant does this weird thing in most of the markets. Their sweet spot is serving these smaller markets that don't have big hub airports. And, for instance, Sioux Falls, South Dakota has been able to gain a lot of nonstops on Allegiant and a couple of the other markets in the Midwest. But they don't usually go every day. So if you want to go nonstop from most of the Allegiant markets, you might have to go to your destination on a Tuesday and not come back till a Friday or something like that. But at least it's a nonstop drop.
There should be an airline, a discount airline, where people can bring food, kind of like a Grateful Dead show, and sell it to other people in the plane.
Well, if you want to share that idea with some of the airline discounters, they might be open-minded, because it is amazing some of the things that the discount airlines have come up with in recent years.
Of course, you'd have to pay to set up the stand.
The other one was American Airlines announced it'll add a second daily nonstop between Epley and New York City's LaGuardia. They already do one, but starting June 1st, they'll do 2 a day. That's really good because Delta already operates a nonstop between Omaha and LaGuardia. So 3 daily nonstops to and from LaGuardia out of this market is a nice step forward. So Trenton, in our big story of the week, we always have a big story each week in the Grow Omaha Weekly Market Report email newsletter. We talked about those 2 new flights, and then in the article, we also did something kind of fun. We gave a list of all 30 nonstop airport options you have out of Eppley Airport at this time, from Atlanta to Washington, D.C. and everything in between. And we also put which airlines serve that nonstop. So if you want to see that list, just go to growomaha.com. When you see the navigation bar, click on Market Report. You can go down and see that newsletter and every other newsletter we've published over the last 2 years. And while you're there, if you don't actively get it, sign up for it and get a load of this. Anyone who signs up for the Grow Omaha Weekly Market Report for the first time between now and March 10th will be entered into our drawing for a $500 Nebraska Crossing gift card. Well, in other news this week, Harrah's Casino and Resort in Council Bluffs has started a $22 million renovation. Plans call for an expanded gaming floor, a remodel of the hotel, and a Guy Fieri branded restaurant. The restaurant is scheduled to open this spring, and after it opens, the rest of the renovation will take place. Trent and I would guess that Harrah's and the other Council Bluffs casinos probably have to step up their game now that Nebraska has opened its first casino, and a couple more are on the way.
Lincoln's open. I think Q Street, it's going to be a little while.
Yeah, I drove by Q Street maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago and didn't see too much progress. So that one's going to be a while. But like you said, the Lincoln one is opened, and it's my understanding that
we have 1 or 2, don't we?
If they're not already open, I know they're coming.
Because they have to have a racetrack, thoroughbred track
in Nebraska. Yeah,
Grand Island.
Oh, super producer Roger Olson says that Grand Island Casino has opened. So that's two that we have in the state right now. Okay.
I wondered where you were last week, Roger.
That would make a lot of sense. So Metropolitan Community College hopes to take over the Marine Corps Reserve Training Center, which is adjacent to the Fort Omaha campus in North Omaha. And if this happens, it will end 155 years in a row of active military presence on the Fort Omaha site. You know, that fort at one time in World War I was a balloon warfare training center, and it was started back in the olden days. The trial for Chief Standing Bear took place there. A lot of history at Fort Omaha.
So all military. I was thinking it was just the Marine presence, but it's all military presence.
Well, the Marine is the last remnant.
Yeah.
There used to be a lot more there, and the Marine Center is the last military remnant on Fort Omaha.
But they've got to find a new location, and Congressman Bacon is kind of spearheading.
Yeah, it wouldn't happen until the Marines do find a new location in the Omaha metro area. We don't want to lose that installment, and so we'll see. But Metro Community College has been using the Fort Omaha campus since Metro was created in the mid-1970s.
I think they should go to Oakview Mall.
Well, there's plenty of room. LB 477 is now before the legislature. It was introduced by Omaha Senator Justin Wayne. But check this out. Justin Wayne is advocating. He is for a $100 million allocation toward a second route of the Omaha streetcar system. Of course, the first route construction is just about ready to get started. It will connect downtown Omaha to Midtown Crossing to the University of Nebraska Medical Center. This second route would originate at 19th and Farnham Street. It would go north to about Nicholas Street and then head east to 16th Street. And on 16th Street, it would go north, passing the future $60 million industrial park that will be built there as part of the ARPA fund money. It would then go past Carter Lake, all the way north of Carter Lake to Fort Street, cut east through what appears to be a residential neighborhood, and come in a little bit north of Eppley Airport. It would use the same tax increment financing system that the first route of the streetcar is going to use. One of the cool aspects about it would be a lot of affordable housing. Part of the bill would be to create and to enable affordable housing along the route. We desperately need some more affordable housing. I think most people would agree that society is better when a high percentage of people own property. So that's all good. So let's talk about this, Trent. I think we need to talk about it from a route perspective and what it would do. And then we probably need to talk about it from how realistic is it perspective. And I will start with the route. I like it. For one thing, I think it's great to connect to the airport. We know from other cities
as long as it connects to the airport.
have to connect
and
the
I
airport.
hope for this new, how much are we spending on the airport right now?
About $600 million.
$600 million. Hopefully, if they're not doing it right now, hopefully part of the plan is to connect the streetcar just to have a lane or whatever they need for that.
Well, and if you look at the route, Fort Street comes in noticeably northwest of the Eppley terminal. So something will have to be done there. And then some people would say, gosh, it's a really inefficient route because if you want to connect down to the airport, it would be a hell of a lot better just to go along Abbott Drive, but then you miss out on the economic development benefits. I love what this might be able to do for the near north side. And if you go up 19th Street, it would go past Creighton University. Then if you go east on Nicholas, you'd go right through the Millwork Commons area. So it makes a lot of sense. In a lot of ways, though, it's unfortunate that Carter Lake, the lake, is in the way because it would be better to cut it east further south than north, but there's a lake in the way. And then if you go on Locust Street through
their own tunnel
through the city of Carter Lake, the problem would be it's a different state, and so that would complicate things terribly. So what are the odds that this will happen? I mean, it's got to be hard to get
in the next 2 years. Very little, I think. I think that the horse out of the gate and $306 million or whatever we're spending right now on the 3 miles that we're doing. I understand why while the steel has to be in the streets and the permanency of the streetcar route and all of that. However, the utilitarian value, it would be great if there could be an incubator while the streetcar is going on, that this Justin Wayne's proposed route, if there were buses or things that look like streetcar but had rubber tires on it, and that would be the best way to determine that people are actually using it.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I know it's better to have the permanency of the rails.
Well, yeah, because I think with the current or the first phase, it's an easier argument because the uses on either side of it
populations
are more of a slam dunk. I mean, you've got downtown Omaha, University of Nebraska Medical Center, which is the largest concentration of jobs probably in the state, and you've got a lot in between and good density along the entire route. There are places along this proposed route where there is very little to almost no density, especially when you get right around the west and north side of Carter Lake.
Yeah, it's different. It's like what's coming first, like the jobs and the housing is already on the current route, and the retail and night, all that kind of stuff, and the businesses. This one, you'd be putting it in order to attract the businesses, in order to attract the population, in order to attract the density, multi-story buildings and stuff. So it's a lot harder to get, and the fill out would the absorption, if you will take a lot longer.
Courtney, I read a couple articles on this yesterday, and it looks like both the City of Omaha, Stothard Administration, Greater Omaha Chamber are coming out favorably about it. And I think we do know, and you alluded to this just a moment ago, Trenton, that steel in the streets, the permanency of those tracks, gives developers confidence to go put in projects that they otherwise wouldn't do. I like it. My guess, and this comes from someone who has read no studies about this particular route, my guess is it would, over the course of time, succeed economically because you would repopulate some very lightly populated areas and all that, but it's going to take longer, a lot longer, to become a so-called profitable investment than the downtown Midtown route would.
I mean, having Millwork Commons there, having the Capital District,
that new industrial park,
all that stuff that's going on would definitely help the effort. But we're hitting a lot more nodes and a lot more areas on the current 3 mile stretch.
Yeah, and with this new one of the complaints might be that if you really just want to take it from the airport to downtown, it's a very indirect route with a lot of 90-degree angles, and that could cause some people to say, geez, it's faster just to come up with some other way to get downtown. But I like the idea. I think it's definitely worth serious exploration.
Well, I mean, do you think that you could put a shuttle from the airport to downtown, like to the streetcar, basically? Like, instead of putting all the money it takes to take it for a direct route, that would take people from the airport on tires
Mm-hmm.
in a bus or whatever it is, and take them to the route.
And then do we run into the old planes, trains, and automobiles that it's too many modes of transportation just to get to a small space?
You go to Europe, you go to other places, and there's plenty of that going on.
Well, something tells me this north route is going to be a source of discussion for over the next year. I guess I'm going to approach it kind of optimistically with an open mind. I guess my default opinion is I hope it happens if it makes sense, and I think we could probably come up with a way in which it will, but it's also a lot of money, and it'll be interesting to see. You can rest assured, ladies and gentlemen, that we will be on it, and when it comes to these types of stories, we will report it.
I'll tell you what, if another major employer in Omaha, or a new one hopefully, comes, just like Mutual Omaha did, say, we'll go down here, so we'll go to North Omaha if you build this route.
That would help.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if there's some community-minded institution out there that wants to have an influence, that would probably help. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your news of the week, brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, EagleMortgageCompany.com. Going to take our first break of the hour, and when we come back, we're going to bring on Stacy Winters. You regular listeners know exactly who he is, founder of Omaha Food Lovers, 92,000 members strong. You're going to be hungry as you listen to the next couple of segments, because we're going to talk about a lot of restaurants and a lot of good food, and this is going to be fun. You're listening to Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid on Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. Back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid at your service. We're brought to you by D&M Roofing and Siding, along with Dingman's Collision Center. 4 locations across the metro area. Dingman's is the place to go if you ever need any body work. They also provide mechanical services as well. But Trenton and I both know the Dingman family quite well. In fact, Trenton has done a lot of real estate work. In fact, you put them in a couple of their locations.
Absolutely. The old Cougar Lanes out on 144th and Industrial Road.
Right. Which is now a Dingman's.
Boat store in downtown Papillion.
Now a Dingman's.
120th and West Maple, which is Dingman's and their mechanical shop.
So you put them in 3 of their 4 locations.
Pretty much.
Okay, well, that's pretty cool. And more importantly than that, Trenton recommends you use them if you ever have the unfortunate incident of a run-in on the road. So we have with us Stacy Winters. He is the founder of Omaha Food Lovers. There's a good chance you're a member of Omaha Food Lovers, because 92,000 out of 1 million Omahans, so 9.2% of all Omahans, are members of Omaha Food Lovers. Stacy Winters, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me. That's a pretty incredible stat when you say it like that. So,
in fact, I think we should round it up. 10% of all Omahans are members of your restaurant discussion.
It's a really holistic organization. Everybody signed up for themselves, and they had to be
we're still getting
qualify.
600 new people a week right now, so we still get quite a few.
So 600 newcomers a week. So if people haven't been on Omaha Food Lovers, it is a Facebook discussion group, which happens to have blown up, and you can talk about restaurants, favorite menu items at restaurants. A lot of times people will post on there and say, hey, my mother-in-law is coming in from Cleveland and she loves this kind of food. Where should I go? And then all of a sudden, like 12 recommendations pop up within 3 or 4 minutes.
Exactly.
I love the ones that my in-laws are coming in. Where should I take them? It's like, can you give us
it's broad. Can you narrow it down?
Direction?
We usually try to direct them to our best of polls that we've done. So we've did like 90 different polls. So that's what we're trying to do when we get people like that, to give them good ideas.
And so
there's plenty of moderators, yourself and other volunteers that have really helped guide.
Yes.
And you really monitor it well, too.
Thank you.
And I probably shouldn't say this, because a magician should never give away his tricks, but a lot of our ideas for restaurant news items at Grow Omaha start on Omaha Food Lovers.
Right. No, I mean, that's a lot of stuff, gets posted in the group, as far as new restaurants coming. It's always about, people are very much looking forward to the next best thing that's coming out. So there's been a few new places, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
And thank you for our collaboration. It's been a couple of years now.
Yeah.
That we went to lunch, which is appropriate, and we exchange information. We exchange listeners and viewers and participants, and It's all about growing Omaha and making the culinary experience in Omaha better.
Well, Stacy, let's get right into it. What are some new restaurants that have opened or might be in play since the last time you were on the show?
So some new places. Mexitil is a food truck that operated down in the Little Bohemia area, and they just opened their full-service restaurant at like 16th and Harney. So they just opened that this week. I hate the word authentic, but theirs is probably the most authentic Mexican restaurant I've seen in Omaha. At least their food truck was. They did stuff that not everybody else is doing. There's a place that's opening March 1st off 168th and Q called Backyard Elotes. People are really, really psyched for that one. The posts for that business have blown up in the group. So it's where Dapper Donut was. Same owners, Dapper Donut. But
I didn't know it was the same ownership.
They're trying something different. So definitely something unique to Omaha. There's no other restaurant that is specializing in elotes.
Why do you think there's so many Mexican-themed restaurants opening?
I don't know.
Just kind of a trend, kind of a...
Yeah, I don't know. I think I guess I can't explain that. But Avila's Latin Market opened up off 108th and what is it, Q? I think it's 108th and
so, yeah.
108th and Q. But a great Latin market. It's on the back side of the Roxbury Plaza, so it's kind of hidden back there. But once you find it, you're gonna go back. I make the chips, the salsa, the enchiladas, everything they're making there, take and bake type stuff. It's gotten extremely popular, and I think a lot of people in the West Omaha area like having something a bit closer. I mean, I always make the trip down to South Omaha, but it's nice to have something that's a bit closer, and they've definitely blown up.
I was at Jacobos yesterday.
Yeah. Got to get your chips and salsa.
Yep, 24th and L.
Yeah. I think Talus is another one. It's not extremely new, but it's a place in Papillion that's definitely getting a lot of buzz. I think it's Aaron Makovikis. I think I forget how you pronounce the last name, but he's the chef owner there. I know he's previously with Railcar and a few other restaurants. But that place is definitely a destination spot now in Papillion. I think Papillion's been lacking.
At 114th and Highway 370.
Yeah, I think Papillion's been lacking that for a while, so it's good to see some restaurants going in there. Black Label is a place in Fremont, so I know we're Omaha, but I'm going to mention it.
We cover Fremont.
So because it's another place that a lot of people in the group are making the trek to Fremont for to enjoy They have like the massive, Instagrammable shakes that, have like a slice of cheesecake or, whatever on top of the shake. So it's a lot of fun for people to go there.
When did that open? Just recently?
It's, I think I want to say in the last 6 months.
Okay, I thought so, yeah.
It's kind of it's a burger joint, but they also do other things.
Interesting name.
The Dave's Cakes is another place that's a bakery that opened up off of like 140th and Millard Avenue over there. He's selling like cupcakes for $2. So he wanted to do something that was, make it still affordable yet, still make some money. And so $2 cupcakes are not massive cupcakes. So I think that's
like half a crumble cookie.
Simo, speaking of Fremont, the Drew Statz, the chef at Dante, is opening up an Italian restaurant in Fremont as well called Simo, S-E-M-O. So that's one. Another one that's gotten some buzz. Everybody's waiting for the next Isla Del Mar to open up off 132nd and Center. They keep teasing us with some of their posts, but that's another one coming soon.
That'll be a big one.
Yeah. Wonton John's is opening up his own restaurant in...
Because that was a food truck.
Yeah. He's opening up in Benson where Baked After Dark was at. So that's another one coming. You guys have covered the Mio. People keep asking about when the Mio is going to open up in the former Lo Solo Mio location. I think it's, last I saw, middle of March is when they're targeting. So that one will be coming. I hope people aren't expecting Lo Solo Mio's menu, though, because it's not going to be the same. They kind of came out and said that at one point. So if you're expecting it to be the same menu, it's not going to be the same menu. And then I think the Pho 79 is another place off 114th and Dodge.
In the old Thai Pepper space.
In the old Thai Pepper space. So again, another place that's getting a lot of positive feedback on the pho that they offer. So
We need what the pho. It's a change.
Well, we are going to take our middle of the show break, but when we come back, it'll be the segment that you've all been waiting for, and that is, where is Stacy eating lately? And that's where he tells us kind of some of the spots he's been to in the last quarter and his little overview of what they were like. So you don't want to miss any of that. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. We'll be back in a moment on News Radio 1110 KFAB. And welcome back to the show. Jeff Beals and Trenton Magid sitting in the KFAB penthouse studio high above Underwood Avenue. And we are brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. This is the time of year where a lot of people who have been holding off on roof repairs because of winter weather are now thinking, we better get that done. And if you want to get that fixed, as Eric Obrum from D&M Roofing Siding says on the radio, give them a call. We're not going to give you a phone number because people don't remember phone numbers on the radio. So instead, we'll just say dandmroofing.com, dandmroofing.com. Your microphone's not on. Try again.
We got a roof done last week, Jeff. There was a nice pocket in there. It was a flat roof. Did an awesome job. Took a couple days. Perfect.
It's time for the Commercial Real Estate Development Spotlight of the Week, brought to you by Noddle Companies. Noddle Companies are the premier commercial real estate development firm based in Omaha, doing all sorts of projects here locally and many projects in other states as well. Here in town, you know Noddle Companies as the firm that made Exarban Village possible. They're doing the Village Point West Medical Campus, River's Edge in Council Bluffs, Steel Ridge in the Gretna Papillion area. But today we're going to talk about one of their downtown projects, the Builders District. The Builders District is anchored by Kiewit's world headquarters. You also have Kiewit University there. It's just east of Creighton University. Well, before the planning board next week is the Pocket Park, the little miniature park that Noddle Companies is going to build in the Builders District. This thing is 61,000 square feet, so about like an acre and a third.
Yep.
About an acre and a third. And it's going to be there along 16th Street, north of downtown in the Builders District. We're looking at a part of it will be the square. Or I guess that's what we're calling it, the square. And at full build-out, the project will include a fenced-in dog park, permanent entertainment screen, 4,000 square feet of a sit-down restaurant, bike and pedestrian pathways. I'm looking at a site plan. There's one thing called the main lawn, which is a big open grassy area. Then there's the flex lawn off to the side. And so construction on this thing, this urban park that Noddle Companies is creating as part of the Builders District, is expected to begin this year. I'm looking at the documents that go before the planning board. This thing's going to be beautiful. There's one place where there's this huge outdoor screen and all sorts of seating set in front of it. This is going to be a very, very special place and a nice addition to the Builders District.
A lot of landscaping as well.
Yeah, heavily landscaped. You are correct about that. And that's your Commercial Real Estate Development Spotlight of the Week, brought to you by Noddle Companies. You can find out more about them at noddlecompanies.com. Well, now we're going to talk with Stacy Winters about some of the restaurants that he has visited lately. We call this segment, Where Has Stacy Eaten Lately? Stacy, where have you eaten lately?
Well, I have a pretty good list here. A Catered Affair is a restaurant. Well, they're known as a catering company, and I don't think a lot of people know that they actually have a restaurant off 134th and State Street, so it's kind of way north. One of the few places that's doing breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so I think they're open like 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. I've been there for lunch, and I've been there for breakfast now, and the food is stellar. They have some great cinnamon rolls. They actually have really good cocktails too. I recommend the Heater. The Heater is it's muddled orange, Fresca, and vodka. It's a really, really good, refreshing drink. I can't wait to visit when the patio's open because they have a really nice outdoor patio too. But they're doing, all of their food. The menu's not crazy big, but they're doing everything really, really well. They also have like a deli type counter where you can go get like take and bakes and a lot of pastries and stuff like that you can take to go. So they're really knocking it out of the park there.
They've got a big event center next door too.
Their food is fantastic. So The next one, which I might lose my foodie credibility because it was the first time I went there, was V Mertz. We went with some friends for Valentine's Day. Shout out to Yum Omaha. It's a friend of mine. She has does a lot of food photography and food write-ups and reviews and stuff. So it's a page worth following. But V Mertz was, as everybody says, it's just fantastic. It's kind of on a whole different level here in Omaha, I think. I will say the cocktails are great there. You got to get the bread when you go there. People recommended the bread, and it's like you'd see why they recommended it. And everything was really, really good. I think the most memorable thing was the creme brulee. It was probably the best creme brulee I've had. Has like a really nice thick kind of sugary shell on top, more thicker than most places. Took a couple times with a spoon to break it open. So that's V Mertz is definitely a special place that, if you're looking for a special night out or a special occasion, definitely book a reservation at V Mertz. Ellie's Chincharo, which is a Puerto Rican restaurant that opened up in 2022. It's in the old banquet hall across from Lucelo Mio, where that was at. And the Puerto Rican food, it really does feel like a little bit of a vacation going in there. Just the vibrant colors, the daiquiris, the mofongo, the flavors are just, really, really really So I would highly recommend checking Ellie's Chincharo out too, especially if you just want something completely different you can't get anywhere else. The Corvette Cafe is another, it's gotten a lot of buzz in the group because it's actually located at inside Greg Young Chevrolet,
a car dealership,
right? And so they've been getting a lot of press. They were featured on one of the news channels here lately.
Is it burger? Is it burgers and? I
think they've gotten most of the popularity has been for their breakfast items. But yeah, they do burgers, they do pasta dishes, they do a little bit of everything. So that's a cool place to check out. Shug's Comfort Food, which is a restaurant in Old Town Bellevue. We actually went there for my birthday in January. And so they have really, really good fried chicken. And just some of that kind of Southern comfort food. My son got some smoked pork chops, and really enjoyed those. So the mac and cheese is outstanding. So it's another great little spot down there in downtown or Old Town Bellevue. I think Phil's Deli was another.
Oh,
one.
Yeah. I'm dying to go there.
So yeah, I saw Sarah Baker Hansen's review from your Grow Omaha page. So. It was really good. The sandwich was really, really good. I got the pastrami, but you want to go early if you want to get the pastrami because they do run out. But it was a really, really good sandwich that I enjoyed.
Yeah, we need to get down there. I still haven't tried Phil's either. We have to go for a Grow Omaha lunch. Maybe the three of us will check it out and wipe out the pastrami supply for the day.
Yeah.
So that's your Where Has Stacy Eaten Lately segment. We're going to take the final break of the hour, and then the three of us will jump into the Turner Construction Lightning Round. Got a few little restaurant tidbits, so we're not done talking food. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Dingman's Collision Center and D&M Roofing and Siding. News Radio 1110 KFAB. And it's the Lightning Round, brought to you by Turner Construction. Turner Construction is one of the nation's biggest and most respected, admired construction firms. And they came to Omaha a few years ago for that Sarpy County data center on Highway 50. And but since then, they've really become integrated in the Omaha business community. A lot of Omahans working for Turner right now. Heavy employee satisfaction. It's just a fun place to work. And the manifestation of that is they do a better job on your project because their team is very cohesive and motivated. And I've talked with a lot of people that have been involved in projects built by Turner, and they just love the service they get. They love the resources that Turner can tap into being part of such a big company. But they also love the local feel of working with people that work for Turner but are based here in Omaha, and our Omaha people doing great construction projects. So thank you to Turner Construction for bringing this to you. Got Stacy Winters with us from Omaha Food Lovers. And guys, let's throw a few little restaurant items out here for the lightning round. And the first one is the Village Inn Restaurant at 2525 South 180th Street is temporarily closed for a major renovation. Looks like the same thing that Village Inn did with their 138th and Maple store. Guys, they are clearly doing a rebrand. It looks radically different than the old Village Inn of days gone by. But I hope they still have the pie.
I think they actually already opened, didn't they?
The one on
180th and Center?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I drove by like yesterday, the day before. I thought I saw the closed for renovation sign, but maybe.
I think somebody posted the pictures and just yesterday. So they might have already opened.
It might already be
It'd be
there.
interesting to see how that Voodoo Taco is doing in that larger format.
Yeah.
Got a 4,000 square foot building with Sheridan's, and then it was, what was it after
Jones Brothers?
Jones Brothers,
yeah. In that same general area, Capri Italian has closed its location at 173rd and West Center Road. Guys, this was the one that was in a very small space attached to the Tanner's Sports Bar. Outstanding Italian food, by the way. I probably went there 3 or 4 times in the short time they were there. Apparently, the plan is to reopen somewhere else as Capri Italian Steakhouse. And I think we could assume and hope it'll be bigger so they can accommodate more customers.
And that'll be turned into their banquet room for Tanner's.
Already has. In fact, I was at Tanner's a week ago last night, and there were like the world's biggest collection of high school kids that had some sort of event, and we were sitting right next to the party room, so they were all coming and going in front of us. So it'll be interesting. Have you have any idea where they might be going, Stacy? Have you heard anything?
I have not heard where they would be relocating to, but yeah, their food is Capri. We enjoyed our visit there. We just sat at the bar, but like you said, it's very, very small.
Yeah.
There's room at Oakview Mall.
If they want to go that route, if they want to go the nuclear route. Zesto Ice Cream and Grill at 102nd, and it's kind of like 102nd and Blair High Road in the Cherry Hills area. They have reopened their dining room after it being closed. Got a new Starbucks expected to open in a new building at 42nd and L. Guys, this was one we didn't like to hear. The Naughty Buddha Burger Bar, which is a vegan restaurant, 707 South 24th Street downtown, closed permanently. The restaurant opened just a couple years ago, and it's only closing, sadly, because of the unexpected death of the co-owner. And, when you're talking, they are going to keep open their brand new Lincoln location, but when you're talking local restaurants, a personal tragedy can definitely end a restaurant.
Yeah, definitely sad to see that she passed away unexpectedly.
Yeah, I never made it. I'm not a huge... I'll go eat vegan every once in a while. I am more of a carnivore.
I mean,
but once in a while,
Modern Love is incredible.
I've been there.
Yeah. So their food's pretty awesome there. So
I like it. And but yeah, normally I go a little bit carnivorous. Well, the music's playing, which means we're done. Stacy Winters, thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
If you want to be a part of his group, just go to Facebook, Omaha Food Lovers, and request to be a member. If you're real nice, I think they'll let you in. Anyway, that's it for this week. I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Maggie.
You've been listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by Turner Construction, Dingman's Collision Center, and D&M Roofing and Siding. We'll chat with you next week at 9 o'clock right here on News Radio 1110 KFAB. If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.